Hello and welcome to the Brutal Podcast. We've got Lapinski and PEAZ with us. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, how's it
How's
going?
it? Wasabi, my dudes.
All right, so on this podcast, we're going to be talking about, or the Brutal Podcast, we're going to be talking about map knowledge. We're going to go over, I think we got it narrowed down to 3 maps. We're going to be talking about Bazaar, which is bronze and gold tiers, top picks. Quarantine, which is the diamond tiered top pick, and Subway, which is Master and Silver's top map pick. So we're gonna go over those and give y'all a solid, good baseline on where to go, and how to perform these strats, and maybe teach you a thing or two about early lines or whatever it is PEAZ does, running around with his knives and getting there real quick to get those caps. But another thing, since I do have Lapinski and PEAZ with us. Both of these team captains played at the VRML Con on stage. We did collect a lot of stuff up there. So
Don't hide your face.
we've got keychains from both Animal House, where's my camera, and Proteus. But we also have a signed shirt from, there it is, signed by all the Proteus members. So
Beautiful.
Audio levels. My audio levels are too low, too high. Don't be jacking
Sounds
with me.
like it must be good.
Kel
Okay.
said it's great.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're gonna be giving that away. So if you have spoke in the chat, your name's already in the drawing at the 1 hour mark. So I need that time management guy to.
That's me. I got you.
There we go. 1 hour. 1 hour into this podcast. We're going to be giving away all the stuff in one big go. And yeah, you have 2 minutes to claim it. So yeah, be here.
Just remind everyone how to get it.
Yes.
How exactly do you win these prizes?
You type in the chat. You type in
All
the
it
chat.
is.
That's all it is. So we've got a lot of people to go through. So let's get started with the episode. So we'll start off with Bazaar. So this is going to be the top bronze tiered and gold tiered map picks. And these are all stats from the VRML website.
Yes, this is based off season 16. What map was played the most in the bronze division of teams and the gold division of teams? And so Bazaar seemed to be the most played. I mean, this is a map that I feel like has a lot of different play styles that can kind of excel in this. If you want to play those tight angles, if you practice hard enough, you'll win Bazaar with tight angles. If you want to play aggressive, there are certainly those routes where if you play aggressive, you can easily cap objectives. I've had a time where we had, I think, 4 or 5 people up on Bazaar, and we got capped on when it was a 1v5 or 1v4, something like that. It can happen on Bazaar. There's a lot of maps where it's like that's very unlikely, but one of the maps that's you can cap on just about any objective is Bazaar. PEAZ is someone who caps all the time. What do you think, PEAZ?
Oh, definitely. The how intricate the map layout is, the amount of routes you can take, and just in general. I mean, they like you said, there's a lot of CQB, but there's also medium to sometimes even long range, depending on where defenders or Marsoc or Volk set themselves up.
Right.
So yeah, you can easily really sneak your way if you just use the terrain. For example, like the center market, the walls. They increase the size of the walls on the further north side, right in front of Kiat. So just going low and you can sneak into like Kiat objective, for example, very easily and stuff. But yeah, it definitely helps how intricate and just what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Yeah, is a word I'm looking for there. Just the layout of it, the lanes you can take, the alleyways they have, the rooms.
I think another thing is Bazaar is one of those maps where a lot of times on defense you take about 20 seconds to run and get into a specific position to then hold lines later in the round. And that 20-second window is a lot of times just enough for certain objectives where one Marsoc player, someone like PEAZ or Quaka, just run straight to the objective. No utility, no nothing. Just I'm gonna run and try to get on that objective. And a lot of times you have that just small enough gap. Maybe you kill the person on objective, and no one thinks the round just started. I heard the gunshots. There's no way someone's capping it already, and let alone there's the cap. It is a great example. I see a lot of people talking about Kiat in the chat. Probably one of the hardest objectives to defend on onward. Quarantine's got a tough one. Bazaar's got a tough one, but when you're solo, even with two people up, Kiat is extremely difficult to defend. And I think we'll probably try to talk about what you can do to defend one of the most difficult objectives when it's a 1v one defender left or two defenders, whatever the scenario. But Bazaar, like Peas was mentioning, there's so much cover, and it's not a very 1, 2, 3, 4 divided lane map. You kind of have to cover the map in quadrants, and you can't just stick, you know, 4 people on the objective a lot of times in certain objectives. You kind of have to spread out, which gives the offense time to take, half the map in the first few seconds. Peas, when you watch other matches or other teams or even play against them, do you feel like you notice teams playing super slow at the start of Bazaar on Marsoc, or do you feel like they kind of rush to the center of the map and try to take ground early on?
It honestly depends. Majority of the team do have those key players that are more of support cover
Mm-hmm.
players. They're the ones that would usually be holding those longer lines, the lines where they can, for example, on Marsoc, so they can watch a Volk defender try to get to those positions you were talking about earlier, where you have to
Yeah.
spread out. So, I mean, my team, for example, like whenever we play and it's anywhere, like you majority of the spawns and stuff, you have to cross Broadway, the main street in the middle of Bazaar.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever it starts, I always say, if you're gonna be pushing, cross that line immediately. Don't wait back, because if a defender gets an angle from those across Broadway from any corner, then you're pretty much done for. It's just that's just a long angle. So I see a lot of majority of the matches I've watched. I always see at least one defender trying to get an angle to watch that cross of that Broadway, of that street.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's only one objective that the spawn is on the same side as the objective.
Broadway, like
So
south, yeah.
yeah, so like in that hotel OBJ or in the northeast
Southeast.
courtyard. Oh no, I forgot southeast also.
There's
That quick spawn. There's
Southeast.
2. So
Yeah.
so taking that ownership of Main Street or Broadway, whatever the call out is. I've heard it so many things.
Yeah.
Taking ownership of that. I mean, just 1 to 2 players can own that much real estate as far as half of the map.
100%.
But what I've noticed on this, and especially after the update, there's more hidden cap opportunities. Like a lot of people are saying, the Kiot objective, that's their most difficult one, because you have 2 hidden cap locations. You can cap in either garage, and same thing with the West Mini Market objective. You can cap in the annex, you can cap in the building, you can cap on OBJ, and I think you can utilize those the pallets right there for cover also, and cap right there. So there's a lot of hidden cap opportunities, and that's what I think makes it real difficult to defend these uplinks when you're especially down to last person.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's really key with defending maps like Bazaar, where like you said, there's so many different cap locations. You have to know every cap location on these maps. or else
Right.
you, as a last defender, you're going to position yourself in a place where you think you can see objective, but you don't. For example, you don't know a certain cap area, and just out of nowhere, someone could sneak in there and just cap right in front of you. So knowing those cap positions are key in maps like Bazaar.
Yeah, I think the only other map that has that many blind cap spots is maybe Downfall that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you can cap in the basement.
Yeah.
For example, Halley HQ or the Halley 2 story, you can cap in the basement of that. Same with Laura Dumpster. You can also cap in the first floor on the south side of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to give out some meta spots, that's y'all's call. I know this is some trade secrets right here, but
I don't mind sharing. I mean, I've got Intel maps pulled up if it makes it easier to kind of visualize and
yeah, let me get it.
I'm not gonna do it for every objective because we don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
time
yeah,
for
yeah.
every objective, but I could do it for like the most basic, like one that everyone wants to know, which is Kiat. Let me see if I can pull up my screen here.
Oh no, I'm here. I got mine. Oh no, no, no.
you changed.
Yeah, we can't do that. So we got it pulled up right
What?
here. So we got it pulled up right here. We'll just have to. You'll have to walk me through it, and hopefully
Okay.
everything's back to normal when we go back to that screen.
Oh, that's right. Well, since I already clicked share, I'll share it so you can see, so you can copy what I'm doing. How about
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that? All right.
Let
So
me try this now. So okay,
So
go ahead.
we'll talk about defense first, which is usually the biggest question. You know, how do you protect an objective like this when it's so easy to cap? The important things first is identifying the spawn. Usually, you should send one person to each side of the map, one on the east, one on the west. So I'll send one player, usually at the like maybe northeast Humvee, just to check is anyone at the tank that's gonna try to cross over into the east courtyard, um, and then I'll send someone maybe north of the wall, in the west to try to see if they can spot any players doing any wide flanks in the northwest. Um, and identifying the spawn first can really help out because then you can already draw back two players to watch towards the objective right away. Um, so in a scenario where let's say it's player one, or the person in the northeast identifies that it's an east spawn, the player in the west can immediately crash back towards the middle market near the west shops, and this gives them the opportunity to now watch that objective, help further protect it, but also maybe get some good sight lines on people trying to get towards the fountain area from maybe scaffolding or even from that blue room. So extra eyes on the middle is perfect. If you're that kind of team who's like, all right, we always want to
Oh,
prepare for the worst of a flank. You could leave that person up at that north wall, play a little bit more reserved and wait for the flank, but that's someone who's really not doing much for the first 2 minutes of the match. So, you know, you can always send them back in, you can keep them back up north. As the next defender, keeping another person in that west market is very important. This west market has a lot of cover to bounce back and forth from. So getting those first few shots to down a player on Marsoc is a little bit trickier in the west than it is in the east. In the east, it's much more open. When you go for those shots, typically most of their body is exposed and they don't have a lot of cover to run back towards where they can maybe, you know, like I don't know what you call it, where they just change paths and then you can't figure out where they're going anymore. So having two players in the west courtyard is usually beneficial, especially since you can back up the other person, go for a refrag, and just stack up a little bit heavier over there.
You
So
you
go ahead,
even
please.
have a line where you put the 3 marker. There is a window there, the further south window. There is
Yep.
a line where you can see that far west cross as well. That is a very good line to have to prevent them from getting that far west flank. Right there, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is a very nice line. Also, you can obviously audio cues. You can hear them coming in from the across Broadway into that southwest courtyard that you're in.
Right. Um, and then now that we kind of have the West secured, we already have called out the East. Let's say they are pushing pretty aggressive in the East. You can put another player in that East courtyard. Usually, I would stick them maybe in this building. This way, you have a fast rotation to objective if you have to crash back for any reason. You have a pretty good line of sight of two things. One, if they're coming in from the west and you're already in the east, you can watch someone who tries to run to the objective. But you can also see the cross that happens all the way at the east wall, and you have pretty good cover to bounce back and forth if they start pushing you. So better to be as close to a teammate as possible if you need to get revived, to get help, versus if you had number 4 pushed all the way up to this blue room. If you go down, don't expect a revive, you know? Um, and then the 5th player, obviously, you want them safeguarding that objective. They're the ones who aren't taking their eyes off of it. As much as that's going to be the boring position, you are the one thing that's going to keep this team feeling comfortable. If they see your dot on that mini map, they're going to know we're doing all right. You know, there's 3 of us left alive, but we're doing all right because so and so is still on the objective. You could be playing in the center fountain, watching pretty much the entire objective, because what you're doing is they can't get upstairs and they can't get to the capable positions on objective without you spotting them, as long as you don't get distracted. If you wanted to play a position where you have a little bit better cover, you could just play second floor of Kiat, but you're a little bit more exposed. So you'd expose your position. You can't see everything the whole time. So there is a possibility that someone's quick enough. There's a lot of those 3-second cappers out there that can just sneak on in for just enough time to send that code. But this is a pretty solid defense that you can hold on this objective that should guarantee you a win. As much as it's difficult to defend it, it's also pretty basic meta positions. It really shouldn't, go far away from this. Maybe if you have someone who's really good at flanking, you can designate one person that's on the non-spawned side to go for a flank. For example, in this scenario, the player in the east called out the spawn. Player in the west can go all the way up into the mini bazaar and watch for that Broadway street. Maybe players might rotate back towards the fountain or are putting down pre-fire. They're in a good position to get a pick and maybe push across the street, or they just play a more aggressive position on protecting the flank. So you could always do that as well. You just got to be careful that you are always watching that tablet. If you don't, you might lose a teammate that you weren't expecting early on. Someone sneaks in and the cap goes out.
Yeah. So this spot right here at the fountain, that's a very common spot. So when you're playing this, you have to be very, very cautious because you are exposed right here.
Mm-hmm.
And these little booths or markets, whatever, you can shoot through them, you can see through the cracks, you are exposed. So another thing I've seen is players laying down and from the waist down is clipping into the fountain. That's another exposure because even if they throw a frag, you have a lot of stuff to protect you, but if it lands inside that fountain, which is a big catcher's mitt, you're gonna go down. So just keep that in mind, because you really don't have a lot of people that can watch your back in this position.
Right.
Because you have the guys on the west side watching. Maybe this guy, if he's not watching the far west, this guy's completely blind if they come in crouched because of the walls and all the little market booths and everything else. And the guy on east side is going to be completely blind to you. So you have to be hyper focused on Kia or on the actual objective Because as soon as they look towards objective, you're the first thing they're gonna see, and if their gun's up, all they have to do is pull that trigger. So,
Yeah.
uh,
PEAZ, what are some of your suggestions when there's only two players or less alive on this objective?
I mean, like you said, it is just due to it. I mean, the best possible place would be Fountain, even though it is a meta spot. It's
yep,
just that's the one place where you can actually see the
Yeah.
whole
yeah,
capital areas. North side is a very dangerous side as well. I always recommend having at least one person on that north side
yep.
hiding in one of those corners to prevent that. Um, a Yeah, I mean, the Kia is such a difficult objective for Volk. It's really like two people to one. Like, especially last man alive, your best bet is to literally just continue to sprint around that objective.
Yeah.
Unless you have an accurate kill count, it's a 1v1 and you have knowledge of where they're coming from. Then I guess you can try to play slow.
Right.
But as last man up, you got to just be running everywhere to cover it, or just plant yourself on Fountain where you can't see that whole thing.
Yeah.
Another good line to spot early spawns. For example, the slower teams, there's always some teams that, they split up in 3-2s or, like 4-1s or something. So the two spawns for Marsoc on Kia are the southeast and the southwest, right? So if you literally just run up right where objective is, you can see all the way south down Split Street, and you can see if any of them attempt for a cross. That's also a place where you can get an easy early pick if one of the attackers do try to cross to get to another area.
Yeah.
So that's another place to also catch those early spawn, able to let your team know where they spawn, and like you guys were saying, allow for a what's the word, flanker to get
Right.
around and assist.
Yeah. As for Marsoc, I mean, I think that there's usually people like to play aggressive on this one. I mean, the defense has to get into very particular positions to have a hold, like a good strong hold, and most people know you're gonna have someone in Fountain. Whether you smoke them out, throw a grenade, you already know. Keep your eyes on that Fountain area for a player. A lot of times people I see a lot of teams who do this kind of play, which is pretty good, where if they spawn east, they try to take control of this east courtyard early on. They want to make sure that they have a pretty comfortable, I guess you could call, like, safe zone near objective. Once you've cleared that east courtyard, no one from Volk is really going to run in there guns blazing. And you kind of have a wall of cover between you and the rest of the defense you're going against. While you're doing this, you might have people who try to take this north wall and just kind of creep up to the north side of this objective, which is great and all. But it takes a lot of coordination to really make sure that those people in the north can get into that objective from that north wall. Smoke is important. Tossing smoke at the front of the objective is what's going to help you out as well. So, for example, we toss smokes at the primary spots where people are going to try to cap. You know, you can cap from both the east and west side of Kia on both first floor and on second floor. You could go for two different strategies. You could just smoke both sides, try to, make it so that you can't see either, or you could heavily smoke just one building. Let's say in this case, we got an east spawn. If we smoke out the entire east first floor, they can't see anybody running around on the first floor at all unless they're in there. Okay, they're gonna panic. They're gonna start pushing people inside that Kiat building. And if you are in a pretty good position, maybe up in some high ground, possibly up top on these stairs, you could get some pretty good shots on people running up from the fountain or from the west side into the objective. But usually, I would say the one place that most people check last if someone's capping is not the second floor, but the east first floor side of the objective. I'll mark it right here as a little sign.
Alert.
right about there. That is where I find most people checking last between all divisions, whether it's master all the way down to bronze. People usually check that spot last because they think, oh, the tricky person's gonna go upstairs, and the person who may not know about the tricky spot upstairs will just go in the objective room itself. So those are the first two spots usually checked from a defensive player. So if you can get into that room and cap it from there, that's usually what I'd recommend.
Yeah.
Smokes will help out a lot
You
too.
do have to be on the wooden milk crate in order for that to work.
I don't think you have to be on it. I'm usually just standing next to it and I have my hand stretched all the way out.
Oh, I just walk onto the little milk crate and it gives me more comfort. I'm in that comfort. I'm cuddled. I'm cuddled in the
In your
corner.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing too, like when you're talking about the smokes, I feel like one thing that I've been seeing less and less of are the M2 smokes. The
You
gun
don't play with
attachments-
James that much, do you?
Yeah, I guess not. But like I honestly have been seeing less and less of it. The M2 smokes, the underbarrel attachment for what is it, the MK? The MK18?
Yeah,
right?
Mark 18
Something like that?
or
Mark
MK18,
18,
yeah.
It's just a lot more reliable than, you know, relying on your teammates or something to be able to throw that utility perfectly on spot or something like that. But M2 smokes can help perfectly hitting those spots to blind those defenders.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it lasts longer.
Lasts
45
longer.
seconds.
Yeah.
And the defenders, unlike the utility smoke, the defenders can't go in and grab it and chuck it away.
Right. Exactly.
So that's very nice.
And then we don't have a lot of time to do the opposite spawn for Marsoc, but it's a very similar strategy essentially.
It gets them in the mindset. I mean, they
Right.
got the basis. Dominate
And yeah.
Boulevard or Main Street.
What's nice is you could play it fast or slow with that kind of route as well. You know, play it to your own pace. Just make sure that the team that's coming in through the north and the team that's kind of hitting it from the side aren't on two different wavelengths. You know, you're doing it simultaneously. You know, but yeah,
You need the defenders scrambling around trying to figure out where the push is actually coming from.
Yeah.
Right.
So one thing that I've seen that is it irks me is someone does all this stealth work to make it all the way around right here. And you've got teammates all around Bazaar, either in east or west. And it's the north flanker that throws the smoke and give up that position of where he's coming from.
yeah,
I mean, utilize your teammates. I mean, have them throw the smoke. You've done all that work. They don't know you're there. Don't throw that smoke to project where you're coming from. Because there is a smoke trail, 100%. Throw it. Have another teammate throw it to where they still don't know about your push. You're still stealth. Maintain that stealth. You've worked that hard. Keep it. So there's no need, especially if you have other teammates available to be able to do that.
Okay. Well, that's another difficult thing about pushing the north is that you can never really, I mean, it's not necessarily a very common spot. You can never know if there's an actual defender in that north shed.
Yeah. And in that,
so usually
here,
I
click
just
over.
pre-fire it, which does give me away. Just because if you're trying to push up there, I mean, yeah, it's just you just don't know. There's no way of telling if there's a defender in there.
right.
Yeah, and the defender in there are cracks in that building to where you can look out. So
and it's penetrable. It is penetrable.
Yeah. But they can easily peek through those cracks without exploiting or glitching, because that's the first thing people say. Oh, he's hacking. He saw me through a wall. But no, there are legal cracks in there to where you can see where the tin is all jacked up, and it was put together at Friday at 4:30.
For loadouts, would you guys say that, like, utility wise, this is a pretty smoke heavy map?
Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You need the smokes. For example, tank objective. If you want to get across that north into that northeast from the west, you need smokes to cross that, or else you're going to be taken out from 2 people,
Yeah.
possibly one on the red container next to objective, or one in blue room that's just specifically
Right.
watching that cross. So yeah, this map is smokes are very important. Not necessarily all objectives require it, but yeah, smokes are a very
Yeah.
important thing on this map.
Yeah,
And I would say that out of everything, it's like most of the objectives, it's a pretty you got a lot of cover from grenades. So if I probably wouldn't take a grenade on every objective for this one. Probably less than half of them would actually have a grenade in my loadout, just because it's like the amount of times where you're fighting someone who's in a room and you're all the way across the street in another room. How are you gonna throw a grenade then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
That's gonna be a tough one.
So
another thing is flashes. So I was playing last night with a pretty good group of guys, and what I was doing, we had that East Courtyard objective. And I had 2 flashes. So I was in between the 2 buildings. We already had a north flanker. We had one pushing in the south, which was going to be staggered. And to try to condense the defense, what I did, I chunked a flash on OBJ. And sure enough, they pulled that drag out, hook, line, and sinker. Just, and everybody crashed back to objective thinking someone's on objective because they just flashed it. And so I was able to pull people out of the blue room alleyway, right? And they pushed all the way up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
James with
Yeah,
James
nades on
talking
all
about nades.
maps.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the only viable place for a nade on Bazaar would be Fountain.
Yep.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's the one place you can get the nade,
Yep.
and
Right.
it won't bounce off anything.
That and if it's tank objective and you know someone's going to be in that like far east wall courtyard,
yeah,
near
yeah,
that red
yeah.
dumpster, like that's another good spot.
Oh, you just
But
40
even
mic
like
that.
mini
Or the-
bazaar, that's tough with all the cover of the wooden pallets, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, hit
But
that 40 mic in that courtyard.
I mean, you gotta have someone with the the nade skills, unlike James, that can
Yeah.
hit
Right.
those.
not everyone's got a James on their team, so
Yeah.
do we want to go over quarantine?
Yeah, we can go over that right quick. Let me pull up. Yeah, quarantine. Stand by. We can go ahead and start talking about it though.
Good old
Um,
quarantine.
Yeah, PEAZ, what are your thoughts on quarantine?
I mean, as someone that enjoys going for that objective, quarantine is probably the toughest one to get caps on, just due to how open the crosses are, how open majority of the objectives really are. I mean, I think the only objectives that aren't open are the ones that are actually inside of buildings, which the only
Yeah.
ones that are inside of buildings are center burning or the far east objective. Every other objective is just, I mean, there is impact objective, but that's still technically open. I mean,
Here,
it's a whole point.
let me just go over to the that's how many objectives are on
Yeah,
quarantine.
That too.
I mean, there are,
there are
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 objectives.
13
13?
objectives.
Are we missing one on?
Yeah, there's one in the north.
Oh, maybe I did. I
There's
miscount?
there's
I
13.
might have.
3,
Yeah.
6, 9. Oh, there's 12.
Yeah.
There's 12. Oh, you right, Ship. Shoot.
I'm the only one that can count. Look at that.
There's just so many, you just forget the number. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there is a lot. And I mean, so this map right here is the biggest difficulty is, even for me, and I've been playing for forever, and I'm real big on spawn identification. So this, for a newer player, this is one of the hardest maps to try to figure out that map identification. And this is where people are going to be like, I'm not worried about it.
Oh yeah, majority of the Marsoc spawns, or majority of the spawns on each objectives, there are 3 different spawns. Majority of them, aren't there? Yeah.
3 or 4.
There's-
I mean,
Yeah, there's quite a bit of different spawns that Marsoc can get. I mean, majority of them are obviously going to be in the same general area, for example, like Far East or something. But it really makes a difference if it's south or north, because there is a lot of quick spawns on this map.
oh yeah, like, I mean, just in Fuselage, I mean, like, or Impact, I mean, you have that quick spawn right there behind Hospital. And I mean, a lot of people tend to put all their eggs into that one basket and head up to AC. And when they do that, they're just flushing away from Marsoc's push if they got that quick spawn.
Yeah. I think the East objectives, the 2 East objectives, are probably the quickest ones to kind of talk about because the defense on that is pretty standard. I kind of did it on my screen a little bit if you want to replicate that. But for both of these objectives, typically the first things you're
Oh
thinking
my gosh,
of is
we're gonna have to. That's a lot already. Yeah.
Well, it's not much. You've got 2 players up in motel if you want. Some people go for 2 players, some go for 1. And my idea is if you have 2 players, all right, one can get down pretty easily. A lucky shot from someone in the north, great. They're down, but they can never be confirmed because there's just enough cover from the windowsill to block the body. So as long as you have someone else on that same floor as you nearby, it's an easy, quick revive. Plus, the difficulty it is to kill someone up in motel, oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. Imagine you go through all that effort the entire round to kill someone and you shoot them dead and you see that they're down just to later find out there was a second one in there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst part, but it's such a strong play to do. Having someone at the objective, of course, as well is super important. It's important having someone always at the objective. Once again, it's like a security blanket. If you see someone on the objective, you pretty much can guarantee that no one's capping it. Not until they're dead. So you shouldn't have to second guess and double check and look at the objective and look away from your position until you know that person's died. And that goes for any of the players the entire round. Plus, with these positions on this objective, even though you're on objective, you can still help out the team by watching some long sights down maybe the South Street or up in the north, whatever you feel like needs that extra coverage. You can put someone in what I call the mall, the big building in the office building that has the parking garage underneath. You could put someone in that stairwell. It's usually a solid play to go. If you feel like they're going to come in underneath, you can pre-plan and go down there early. Or if you feel like they might come up, hold that stairwell. It's pretty tough for them to take you out when you're at the top of the stairs when they come up. Plus, it's good coverage to be on the same level as the rest of the objective. It's a quicker rotate in case you need it to rotate back versus being underground. But very versatile. You start getting hit from up top and you got to rotate. Just drop downstairs and go through the I guess you could call it the ramp going outside to South Street, or vice versa. You're on that ramp. You want to get up a floor. Just go back through the mall up the staircase. So it's super versatile. And then the last spot, you put someone in the south playing a pretty tucked in position. If you want to watch the long angle in the south, you can. Just be prepared. There's a better sniper out there, you're dead. It's sniper versus sniper. But if you feel like, go ahead.
So one is going to play a key pivotal role. What you have labeled one.
Yes.
One is going to be pivotal. As soon as you get to this position, your eyes have to be scanning. Normally, I would only recommend one right here, because it's going to take them a minute. I wouldn't really call that an early line looking towards the north, but I would be focusing right here on center burning.
Depends on the objective. Click on that other objective in the east real quick. So click on that one. See that spawn up in the north?
Yeah.
Now
okay, yeah, we're doing both. I forgot.
Yeah.
But I was just focused on this one.
It does depend.
Yeah. But yeah, this one can check for that quick spawn right there or I wouldn't say a quick spawn, the closest spawn to that far east objective. Because they can look into center burning. A lot of players do go there to try to look into the hole in the courtyard. Another thing, he is going to be protecting this guy in the south.
Well, and something that I was thinking that also James was talking about is, you're always going with that risk of that south defender having to cross that south street.
Yep.
And Marsoc possibly getting that south spawn, because no matter what, like, if they get that south spawn, they're gonna be watching that south street cross, and that's a risk of that defender getting picked off early, leading it to a -1 player deficit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
right here,
It's really
if these two players go down, the one in the 2-story and then the one in mall, if they go down, you really put yourself into a bind.
Mhm.
Because all they have to do is if they can make this cross to the tunnel, there's that wall. If they lay down
Yeah.
right there, they are completely safe from the last 3 remaining defenders up.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
Because they
Well,
have
that's the thing.
0 time to rotate around the wall to make that shot, and the guy in the south, he's got a long way to hump it to get an angle on the other side of that wall. That little half wall right there stopping you from falling into the garage.
Yeah, and that's the thing about quarantine, that it's so detrimental that you need to have trust that on your teammates to watch the line they're designated to watch. Because if any
Discipline.
Marsoc get through one of these guys, then that that's just dangerous. That's
Yeah.
that very risky,
East
because
objectives.
there's so many lines that they have to be watching. You just need to make sure that your teammates are watching the lines they're designated, because there's always teammates that are going to be like, oh, I need to check over here, maybe go this way. They're always changing their view, and yeah, this map requires a lot of trust on that teammate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
East objective is also, I would say, closest thing to downfall, because it's one of those times where to get to the objective, you have to go through large amounts of space with little cover.
Hmm.
So it's very important that, like you said, Peace, you hold that line and you have trust that your teammates hold it too. If you doubt your teammate and you look at their line for them, you now create a blind spot for where you were supposed to watch, and that's mostly just the east objective. Um, but
Well,
in the west
all.
side of the map, it's not as much that case because there's so much more cover to bounce back and forth that even watching your line, there's a pretty good chance that, oh, someone's just too quick, that quicker than your reflexes to hit them. But in the east, there's very little chance that someone's running in the open, you can't kill them. I mean, especially if you're holding that line. I mean, I know times where I'm in the west and I'm holding the line, and there's only a small window for me to hit them. That's why the East is like a much different breed in quarantine than the West side of the map is.
Yep, absolutely.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and in the west side, I mean, that's the only one. Well, I mean, you have some at center burning, but I mean, like those blind cap areas. Uh, as far as being able to cap in different locations where you think, oh, I've got this objective covered, and it's not. But
Mm-hmm.
even that discipline is detrimental on both sides of this map. I mean, just because of the amount of open crosses and even the tight narrow crosses, because even when you get into that west side, you might see them cross that little sliver of a peak going around one building, so you're already anticipating them to come around this other corner. So I mean, now you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out, hey, is he coming around this way or is he just going to button hook and come right back? So
Right.
maintaining that discipline is key.
And I mean, that's why with maps like this, knowledge and even terrain layout is really key to navigating, especially as a Marsoc, around those defenders, getting around those angles that they're holding.
And
Yeah.
Because
and
I mean, it's, for example, the north side of the terrain is, there's terrain's very different. Really, the whole area of the terrain, the walls that you can take advantage of that are all around it, the containers, the vehicles, anything can be used to help you get to certain areas without getting spotted or picked off.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I want to say this. One of the big things in quarantine, there are several places on this map that are just dominating. So like even playing in pub lobbies, that's the first thing that I try to stop is someone from going into those just devastating Overwatch positions. I mean, if
Impact
yeah,
roof.
impact roof, AC, or hospital. I mean, if you get into there, you can watch pretty much make shots from across the map right there
Yep.
on those. And so trying to prevent those and learn those early lines. I mean, the early lines on this are pretty easy. It's both streets pretty much. I mean, yeah, you have some in the north off spawn for those spawn identifications, but it's super key to try to prevent those the Volk or anybody on the opposite team, if you're Marsoc or Volk, trying to prevent them from getting into those spots.
Yeah, just those specific areas can be very dangerous if you allow a player to get into them.
If Kale was here, he'd also say one specific thing about quarantine.
Drone.
Drone. Love to use the drone on quarantine.
His drone. I have never seen someone more infuriating that uses a drone as Kale, because you will shoot at it and he will make it seem like it drops.
Yep.
Like he just knows. I don't know how he knows that the drone's getting shot at.
He does
just drop it, and you think like, oh, the drone's down. Next thing you know, the drone's like in another location watching you.
He does that Top Gun shit on it a lot.
He does.
I think Kale just cheats and he takes 2 drones. I don't know.
He was inverted.
Yeah.
He was inverted.
So
he's got a little repair kit on his bag that he just goes to the drones like, I'm gonna tweak that wing and let's go right back up, buddy.
Just a little screwdriver.
Pop that battery out, put a new one in. Good to go.
So 10
Why
minutes.
do you think it takes so long?
Yeah.
Here, let's put this out. 10 minutes left. If you haven't commented in the chat, if you're just watching, we're doing that VRML Con giveaway.
Yep.
Whole bunch of swag. So make sure if you're in here, comment, and your name is going to be entered in for that.
What's the swag? What's the swag?
The swag's keychains and signed shirts.
Keychains, signed shirts.
A Tempest keychain. They're not getting my Sweet Koala Bears keychain.
Yeah. You get the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, no. Quarantine, definitely. Quarantine, Volk. For Volk, you got to have that reliance on your teammates to watch those lines. Mm-hmm. Make sure that they don't get across any of your teammates, or else, like I said, it's dangerous. And Marsoc, take advantage of that map knowledge. Use the walls, use the terrain, get around us. I mean, there are times where I would just full sprint, not even raise my gun up, and just use nothing but the terrain and still get on objective. Just because I'm getting by people, just using the map to my advantage.
Yeah, we know what parts of the map where you could stand on some sand and now you're looking at a spawn or over a wall that's 7 feet high. You know, the terrain is magical on this map.
Oh yeah.
We
want to hop over to the last map, or do we want to talk about quarantine more?
Yeah, we can go ahead and, well, you know what? We'll talk about this. We'll take a break, do the giveaway, and then we'll switch over to Subway. How about that?
Okay.
Let's talk about one thing that a lot of people don't know is playing objective. They can, if obviously a lot of people don't know you can cap there, but they can cap in the crack between impact and the plane.
Yes.
And I'm saying this because there's so many times where I've watched matches and stuff and I've seen it happen, and it frustrates me that, no one knows about it. And it's like, because it's such a dangerous spot.
I thought it was common knowledge.
In there. No, it's the amount of times I've seen people get capped there. I mean, I've capped on many people there. It's just they don't look there.
Another thing is that wall. The wall on impact. You can cap on the other side of that.
Yeah, on the south side of it. Yep.
Especially coming out of that quick spawn. I mean, you're looking at a 15 to 20 second round.
Yep.
If no one's
someone watching that,
because everybody's focused on that north, or hey, let me run through here and try to get onto impact or get onto the wing. And guess what? We're already there at the wall sending the uplink, and someone chose to run north and start making noise, throwing everybody's OODA loop off. Yeah.
That's where the reliance on your teammate comes in. You gotta have that someone looking on the outside of that objective. I mean, even my own team, we've been capped like that multiple times, and it is genuinely the most an instant too, like you said, like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
if they get that quick spawn.
But also
you just
inside,
have to rely on that.
Back on that fuselage objective, you can also cap on the south side of it. James pointed it out right here, and the easiest way to find that is there's a crack in the bottom.
Yeah,
there's a little triangle hole in the bottom of that fuselage.
Just gotta watch for a arm sticking through with the tablet.
And inside hospital, the parking garage or whatever, on that corner objective, you can cap in that annex or the garage area. But also a spot that a lot of people overlook is underneath the stairs.
Yes, you can inside of a hospital.
Inside a hospital underneath the stairs.
On the ambulance objective.
Yeah.
Yep. You can cap inside the hospital under those stairs. I've seen that happen many times where their teammate dies in hospital and they don't even bother looking in because they're just not aware that they can cap on the inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why, like I said in Bazaar, like knowing the cap spots is detrimental to being able to defend at peak knowledge.
Yep. Knowing it.
And
I mean, even on Volk, you can find those cap locations. You can pull your tablet out and see, like, if you pick up that signal, like on a cell phone, you can cap there on Marsoc.
Yep.
So,
I mean, James is pointing out a lot of cap spots. I mean, even though he doesn't know how to cap, he still knows where it is.
Yeah.
He still knows where to stop the cap.
Right.
Yep, center burning, the east side of the wall. Yep.
And
there's a lot of spots.
The east side of the building and on that wall. I utilize that wall all the time in pub lobbies. No one's like, "Oh, how'd you cap there? I checked the side of the building." Well, you got to look over that rebar, baby.
Yep, I use it to knife people as well. I mean, it works.
Yep. All right. So we've got 4 minutes till we're doing this giveaway, and make sure you are commenting. Let's go ahead and switch over to that screen to make sure that we have everybody on it. So,
what's up with my video resolution?
Yeah, it did drop a little.
Because you made the fatal mistake of changing the screens.
Yeah, but but why does that change my video resolution?
Because
Discord.
That's why.
Dang it, Discord.
The more you know. What?
Now James is just spitting lies. Most caps on Mayhem. Come on.
All right, let's make sure. So let's go through the chat right quick.
Caps.
So we've got PEAZ, Danny Williams, Lapinski, Kale, Wicked, Jared the Dean, Elmo.
I don't want to win a Proteus signed shirt.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. In the pre-show, he was drooling over it.
You see that I signed his laminated playbook of Proteus?
I did get that signed.
I got that signed. I signed that.
I signed the flag because I casted it. They were like, "Yeah, you casted, so you can sign it."
Yep.
Smalls is on there. James R's on there. Ashley's on there.
What would be more fun, to spin it whatever it lands on wins, or to spin it whatever it lands on gets eliminated, and you keep doing that and you keep doing that until there's
that does sound fun. That does sound fun. That actually sounds fun. Do it.
All right, y'all ready for it? Let's do it.
Well, you gotta tell us how you're doing it. Which way?
Do y'all want to do the elimination?
Do the elimination. That's more intense.
All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna eliminate. And yes, James, we do need to do a boat stock giveaway. All right, so here we go. We're gonna click on it, and the one is eliminated. I think I can.
Lapinski.
Oh, look at that!
No way!
So
get him out of here.
Lapinski's out of it.
To think, if I didn't come up with this idea, I would have won.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! There's PEAZ.
It's just rigged. He's rigging it. He's rigging
No, remove.
You can click remove. Yeah, you just click remove.
Look, they're celebrating. Y'all got removed.
I know.
Oh, and it looks.
There, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Smalls, remove. Here we go.
On the very last
to their faces.
On the very last two names, you've got to copy and paste it so that there's 50 James and 50 Ashleys, and then have it so that
Look, watch it come down to James and Ashley
for 5 minutes,
and they're gonna think
it's rigged.
It's rigged, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope James gets removed too, because that would be an expensive.
Elmo.
Wait.
Is James R? Who's that? Is that Jared Dean?
Oh yeah, or who is James R?
Oh, and there's look, quit saying names. Y'all are making it look like it's rigged.
Hey, who's James? I guess James R is another person. I guess
James got in there twice, I guess.
Did he? No, James R and then James Boak. I don't know.
Yeah, there's two different Jameses. Danny Williams.
Here we go.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
All right, I'm gonna call the next name. The next name that's out is gonna be James Boak.
Oh, James R. Minion.
James Boak's the next name
James
out.
R
Sorry,
is
James, I gotta
gone.
do it to you.
We already said
Nope.
remove.
It's gonna be Ashley.
I was close.
Damn.
All right.
Oh my God! Is it gonna be
The final
Kale?
three. The final three.
Kale?
So we take it. Yeah, nope, we're keeping them in.
Kale, no!
All right, so this is what you have to do. Copy and paste Wicked and Kale over and over till there's like 20 of them.
Get it, James.
And then you click it so it's like you can't really tell who is going to land on until the very last second.
Do it.
There we go. Oh, look at that.
Oh boy. Now you got to at least click enter. Enter Control V. Yeah, there you go.
Control V,
Do
Control
it until
V.
it's like very small, like very thin,
So no one can see anything.
barely. Like I'll tell you when to stop.
Yeah, because I'm just like,
Keep her going. Keep her going. It's
and
almost there.
Crash.
yeah.
All right, that's good. That's good right there.
Okay.
Okay.
The final
And then
spin.
go to settings and see if you can change the time for the wheel to spin. There should be like a setting somewhere.
2-minute wheel time now.
No, it's
Let's see what
good.
it is.
It's good right there.
Okay.
Send
It's
it.
good. It's good. Let's see. Let's
All
see.
right.
Wicked or James?
Drum
Who's it gonna
roll,
be?
Drum roll.
It turned white. There was so many colors.
Oh,
James.
it's James. So that means Wicked wins.
Yep,
right?
Wicked wins.
Hey.
So, Wicked NJ, be sure to hit me up to get all your information.
Yeah, you're right. You don't want to
Yeah.
send stuff to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Probably
2
for the
months
best.
later.
So, Wicked NJ,
Let's go, Wicked.
hit me up.
They're gonna smell that Proteus shirt, and it's not gonna get past customs.
So, you are the winner of the VRML Con giveaway. You're going to be getting Proteus and Animal House, Animal House swag. I'll even throw a few Shipwreckd stuff in there. So,
Go, Wicked.
I like how James said to delete him, and then he goes, wait, because he realized he was
Yeah.
the last, like, 3. He was like,
all right.
I'll stay.
Oh, look at that, Lapinski. Share your
Where did-
screen again.
Where did
Now
I
you're
go?
all Purple,
What did you do to me?
Because you quit sharing.
What have you?
You messed with Discord again.
Put me
Lucky-
back up.
Luckily, I have that.
Oh, you son.
I'll
of a-
fix it. I'll fix it. Let's go to Subway. Subway. Let's talk about Subway.
The greatest map on Onward.
It's all right.
Whatever, man.
So, I mean, the one big giveaway, there's only 2 objectives that do not have the service stairs spawn. Center Market
Is it?
or Chinatown and South Stairs. Those are the only ones that have a
Yeah.
deviated spawn point. All the other ones, you spawn. Marsoc always spawns at service over there by 6.
Isn't it crazy that out of all these different objectives on these other maps, like what Quarantine had 12 objectives, this one's only got 5. Like a solid 5 objectives. That's got to be easy to plan out, routes and defenses on a map. Is Subway. Just give me 5 objectives. That's all I
Yeah.
need. I miss the days when it was like, here's 2 objectives, back when there was no other like entrances to get into the middle platform. It was just north and south. That was it. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
I mean, the entire map of Subway is just a bottleneck. There's
Yeah.
so many.
It
So
comes
many
down.
different
It comes down
bottlenecks.
to 3 or 2 bottlenecks for pretty
Yeah,
much
it comes
every
down to
objective.
it comes down if you can kill the defender watching that area.
You're Gucci.
Yep. So,
So
on this, which one do y'all want to talk about the most? What objective? I think the biggest one needs to be lower platform.
All right, let's talk about it.
I mean, right there, that is the bottleneck. I mean, you have 3 bottleneck positions. This map has been played and played and played and played and played. I mean, pretty much every spot you go to is going to be a meta spot.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult thing. So people are now like pushing out and not really focusing on that bottleneck, losing that advantage of that bottleneck. What's y'all's thoughts on that? Like moving out of lower platform and really watching upper platform to try to stop those pushes going into those bottlenecks.
At most 2 people on mid platform. There
Yeah.
should never really be more than that. But because if you overcompensate for mid platform and they push through service, when they push through service, they'll usually send 5 people, and then you're rushing back down. Basement stairs is what I call it on mid platform. And if someone's up in horseshoe watching you scurry back down a little ant hole, you're gonna die. So I usually never overcommit mid platform. Usually the people mid platform are there to maybe get 1 or 2 kills. Throw them off, slow them down. If if you get a kill on mid platform and you tuck in, they're going to spend quite a while trying to find out where you got that kill from.
Mhm.
And they're going to clear every corner, and that takes a lot of time. That usually takes 2 minutes to clear every little corner on mid platform before you can get in.
Yeah, the mid platform for Volk people, it's a rat's paradise. There's
Yeah.
so many places they can be, especially dark corners, etc.
Yep.
Anyone that likes playing that, that sneaky way, that like a rat, like I said, that's just heaven for them.
Yeah. I think like for anyone that's thinking Marsoc as well, you're always thinking, oh gosh, how do we approach this? It's a bottleneck, no matter what way you see it. Well, the first thing you got to do is what's the most likely thing that the Volk's gonna do first, and then plan around that. So on Volk, you're mostly gonna send at least one person mid-platform.
Mm-hmm.
They're the person who's just gonna try to cause chaos, get some picks while you're running out in the open. So if you're gonna go through mid-platform, you've got to clear that first. You got to clear the whole thing. You can't clear half of it or the basics and think, all right, we're clear, and then stack up on a staircase, and then you all get mowed down by the one spot you didn't clear. That's the worst way to lose. You'd rather die by missing your shots than to die by making a careless mistake of just not checking a simple corner. Now think about service tunnel. What's the one thing a defender pretty much 9 times out of 10 does in service tunnel? What's one of 2 things? PEAZ or ship.
So I'm gonna throw this out there right quick. I'm gonna give you my 3. We can take PEAZ, go at it and see where we compare. So
Okay.
one, their biggest, if they make it that far and they push that aggressive, it's the fatal mistake of giving up their audio. And I haven't seen it that much this past season, and even in scrims, you don't see a lot of it anymore. But people pushing into red generator room and attacking there, you lose audio. You can be flanked around through the other hallway, through the barrels hallway.
Yeah.
Because they can still hear, but you can't hear them. But other than that, there's going to be C4 out there somewhere trying to find a meta spot for it, and a flashlight. That's what you're always going to see in service right there. So that's what you're going to see. Those are my 3.
PEAZ, what do you usually expect in that service tunnel from most teams?
I feel like flashlight is a key one that a lot of people use for that tunnel, but C4 as well.
Yeah.
C4. I mean, I always make sure subway in general is don't bunch up.
Yep.
Because one nade, one C4, that's half your team, if not your whole team, dead in an instant. And I always expect. I mean, like Ship was saying, you know, it used to be a common thing where a defender would run into red generator room.
Yep.
I always expect one to be in there. Barrels as well. Barrels, you know, like I said earlier, you know, for rats, barrels is the rats like someone that's really good at holding those, you know, staying low and holding those angles right over those barrels.
No, the rat's going to be at the very end of the tunnel. As soon as you come out.
Yep.
That's what I'm always like,
Yep.
no, this guy got me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, although it's just one basic little tunnel, you know, there's actually so many places where they can be hiding. It's like you got the barrels, you got one. Once you're reaching the service tunnel, there's these two trash cans straight to the right where I've seen people hide. That single box that's right on the red tunnel leading it out of service tunnel. I've seen people there. I've seen people behind the double boxes. People at the stairs. Head glitch in that. It just comes down to your utility. Just to be able to clear. Like I said, majority of this map is bottlenecks, so you have to be able to take out that person, whether it's with utility or just pre-fire. That's what I mean. That's something I recommend on Subway a lot. Is just pre-fire every common spot. Every spot is pretty much common, but yeah, pre-firing. That's always the best way to go.
Yeah. A lot of common things I notice on this objective and service tunnel is the use of C4 and someone pushing into the little engine room where there's a bunch of little engines. Those two characteristics I see a lot. The person who pushes into that engine room a lot of times might toss a flash or a grenade. I'd say, you know, let them push in a little bit, give it some time, let them toss utility, and then try to flush them out together as a team. You know, once you push in together as a team, it's a little bit easier to pick off that one person because you can sandwich him from two different fronts. He can't. It's a lot harder for him to aim one way and then swing to the other while you're both shooting at them. So going in as a team, cohesion. But C4, right where Ship place it, those are pretty common spots where you will see a C4. Now remember, you can only have two C4s per round, but this is where to expect it. You can't always guarantee that they'll only be in one spot. So, what is the best way to take out a C4? It's not knifing it and it's not shooting it. It's by throwing a grenade. Because at any moment, if you disable their C4 without using a grenade, all it takes is the defender to toss a grenade back, and then that C4 as well as the grenade will go off, even if you defused it. It's one thing that a lot of people forget about. It's called a daisy chain. So, James would probably love hearing these words, but grenades are your friend on this objective. Okay? Tossing grenades, not at specifically people here, but using the grenades to clear out very common C4 positions, because that's usually the first thing that kills a push are the C4s in that service tunnel. Once you kind of clear out the most difficult part, which is getting past that flashlight pistol at the door, getting into the actual tunnel of the subway tracks for objective, that's when it starts to get easier because all you need is smoke and being prone. Going prone along those tracks and having people behind you to give you cover down the lane is super important. Just don't overexpose yourself to positions that you won't have the advantage on. For example, if you're going prone on that subway track and you got people behind you watching, covering for you, don't peek your head up slowly trying to kill a person that's right next to the exit of service tunnel. He's already on high alert. So, for example, you don't want to peek this guy in this little cubby, and you don't want to peek the south stairs. Let someone else do that. Your job is getting as close to objective as you can while going prone, because that's where that's where you're going to catch more people off guard, is when you peek your head up all the way near that objective versus closer near the service exit.
So here, let me throw something, and I'm not going to call it off meta, because I mean, besides service, you will see C4, but it's always placed at the base of the stairs.
Yep.
Over here. So something I've been doing in pub lobbies and stuff like this is actually throwing it at the top of the stairs, directly above the top of the stairs, where they're slow peeking. That you have more of an opportunity when they're trying to slow peek or check those corners and try to look to make sure that those players aren't in the bottom of the tracks, and placing that C4 on the roof at the top of those stairs and just sitting back and say I'm in the north side on the tracks, visually watching with my gun barrel focused on the north stairs, center platform stairs. I can still visually see the bottom and clack off from there.
Yeah, that actually used to be not necessarily common, but it was. I've seen it quite a bit before. I'm actually surprised a lot of people haven't done it anymore, because that's actually a really nice thing to do.
Yeah,
because you, like you said, you can just get rid of them before they even come down the stairs.
Yep. And I mean, you hear their audio cues and everything else. They're running above you. In the past updates, we've really lost that. Are they above me? Are they below me? Audio. Yeah. So, but I mean, in this situation, but being up top there, one person in that center platform watching that attack before it goes down. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for success, in my opinion. I mean, one person watching both entrances, and then that's your first line of defense. And then you've got a second line of defense by actually shooting at them. And then your third line of defense is the guys on OBJ. And guess what? They've lost that element of surprise. They know they're danger close enough for that person who's watching that angle to either send rounds down range at them or to clack off that C4. So you know they're danger close, so now you can anticipate where they're coming from.
And that's the thing about C4 is, like with maps like Subway, like you said, you can hear them, even if they're above you, under you, or anything like that. If they're moving quick enough, you can hear them.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to know if they are above you or under you.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, unless you're in the basement already, and obviously you know that there's only one place they can be, which is above you. Mm-hmm. But that's one thing I tell my team specifically is that visual confirmation when using a C4.
Yep.
Find a spot where you can place a C4 and find a little rat corner, a little rat angle where you can see him, just even the slight little bit, as long as you know that C4 is going to hit him. And I mean, I do that too. I always make sure I have visual confirmation whenever I hit that C4, because audio is just, it's tough to rely on audio in a map like this.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And I mean, I used to utilize, like, even on the South Stairs objective, I would run right here. And I mean, I still utilize it. I mean, on the South Stairs objective, they're spawning right here. So you can run up right here and you can count how many players are pushing Main Street, how many players are pushing into Sex, and how many are pushing South Stairs. So just right there, the audio cues, you can determine where everybody's at, and you can pass that information along.
I was thinking, like, a little shout out to Kale. For North objective, Kale would go into that northeast tunnel on main platform, and he would just sit there and listen to how many people are coming up through the north.
Yep. And that
it would be so annoying, because you'd be running up and you just hear him down there. There's one, there's another one, there's a second one coming around, and it's like, stop.
And the good thing is when another thing that I remind them of is I'm gonna wait until they're pot committed. I mean, if I call them out right here, there's still time for them to run away. Yeah. Now, I'm going to let them pass, and I'm going to hear their footsteps grow weaker, and then I'm going to call them out, they're at dumpster. So then they can either blow the C4 or throw the grenades, and and take their shots and have a greater opportunity, because now they're so far pot committed down that alley that even if they do and rotate, if you flick around, you're going to be looking at their backs. There's going to be that more opportunity that you're looking at their back rather than them already making it around the dumpster down here or the end of the hallway in Center Market to where they can turn around and anticipate you coming around on them.
Mm-hmm. Anything, Lipinski?
Nope.
You want to do South Stairs right quick?
Sure. The outside South Stairs objective.
Yeah, South Stairs objective. Let me reset this. So, I mean, South Stairs objective outside of Chinatown or Market, this is the only other objective where you have a different spawn away from that Sex Alley service tunnel entrance spawn. So they can spawn in the north, and I see a lot of people, especially if you're going against James, a lot of people die right there in Market because of the nades. Another thing is pushing, and they're dying at the end of Main Street coming out of Center Market because of utilities.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like PEAZ says, you can't ever bunch up on Subway because it is so easy to get naded or C4'd on this map. It's just incredibly easy. So you always have to kind of separate yourselves from the rest of your team. I always say stagger. Guys, stagger up. Like, let's make sure we're in range for refrags, but not in range for getting naded or down by C4.
Gotta have that spacing.
Exactly. Yep. So super important that, like, on Marsoc, you're close for refrags, but you're not together where you'll get downed by a nader C4. If you get that quick spawn up in the north, you're pretty lucky. You gotta space first, but typically fill up that Chinatown early on. You're not going to really find yourself in a position where you'll get that Main Street advantage, because if they simply want to, which you'll never know if they will, they could toss a nade right at you, time it, cook it, and you'll instantly die, or at the very least you'll go down. Maybe you'll trade, but you can't always guarantee that you'll get them before they even throw it. So it's a lot of times just too risky to push that main street at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, that comes to timing. Knowing timing. So even when you're on Volk, notice how far you can make it from where, like, so timing, what I'm referencing. So, like, if I'm Volk or if I'm Marsoc and I get that north spawn and I push through and I make it to the Main Street, I'm anticipating someone's going to be halfway in between the road trying to run to the trash can right there, because that's the timing.
Yeah.
Same thing with the spawn in the south. If you spawn or in center platform, by the time you're pushing up, just before you get into that south train car, or you're pushing north, they're already at the turnstiles. So knowing that and having that timing and knowing that timing is key to where you're not benefiting them by one player dropping 3 players still in right out of spawn. Or you flicking around the corner, bunched up, trying to rush Main Street, and they throw a frag or they just spray and pray and wipe out half your team because you are bunched up and you weren't aware of that timing.
Yeah, on Subway, it's super easy when everything's bottlenecked, where if you have to re-peek, you can pre-fire and you're most likely going to hit a few of those shots. And so that's why doing the 2-3 splits on an objective like this for Marsoc, it may not always be the best case, because a lot of times when you're spreading out and you're sandwiching the defense, it's a tough position. But in this case, when you're trying to spread out and come in from both sides, it's easy for them to just swing pre-fire, swing back. And it's like, dang, he could have just killed you, whatever, because he knows when he's going to swing and pre-fire you, but you don't know when he's going to do it vice versa, So it's harder to get that timing lined up when when something like that might happen. So a lot of times on an objective like this, I'd say fully commit one alley. Be there so that instead of it being 2 guns on one, it's 4 or 5 guns on one guy.
Yep.
So when they does swing PQ, dang, it's gonna be a lot harder for him to down anybody. And if he does, oh no, he's downed. Well, he's dead. The guy that just swung you, he's dead because you have 5 guns on him, and boom, I just revived the guy that he just downed from a pre-fire. You know, but it's but just don't bunch up. Don't bunch up.
That's
Play
instant
together in an
karma.
alley. Watch for flanks. Go through main alley as you have a little bit more space to separate, but watch the same thing. And push that objective together as a team. Use grenades. Nade common spots that they sit in. Use flashes. Flashes are really useful on this. And just save your smokes for the objective. You shouldn't have to toss it anywhere else. But just make sure that you clear Sex Alley early on, the far push of it. You don't have to go all the way down it. Just check to see if anyone's gonna try to play aggro and flank you, and then play out that main alley. And then as for defense, you only ever really have to have one person watching Sex Alley. I mean, you put a C4 over there and you check it periodically. Hold on to a grenade, and you've pretty much got Sex Alley on lockdown. And then main alley is your biggest concern. South stairs is not much of a threat because all you have to do is just stare at south stairs with one person and prevent them from throwing any utility up. The timing for them to throw utility up versus you shooting them as they try to do it, most of the time you should kill that person before that utility makes it pretty much anywhere up those stairs. But if you're slacking, that's when they start to get that advantage back. So play aggressive in main alley if you have that aggressive player. Push up, toss that grenade, try to push into horseshoe or farther down main alley, and then leave one person to watch Sex Alley, one person to watch the south stairs, and then the rest kind of centered towards the main alley on defense.
Explosives.
Yep.
Yeah.
On both Volk and Marsoc. This is the one map where grenades are key to have, just to get early clears, and just to clear corners that you don't even know if an enemy's there. You know what I mean? Like what Shipwreckd was talking about. For if a Volk player on south objective, they would run and try to get into the trash can, that little trash can cubby. One nade into there, that's a clear. Another nade even near objective, that's most likely going to hit someone. It's just this map is small enough where one nade can really make a difference in your push.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Well, I think that's gonna. Y'all have anything else?
Nope. I
Nope.
think we had some pretty good timing on this one today.
Yeah. Well, we extended
You're
the
pecan giveaway.
yeah, we extended it a little bit because of that. So
Yeah.
the audible of saying, "Hey, let's just eliminate." No, but it was fun. It brought up the anticipation level. So, yeah, I would like to thank everybody who watched. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Congratulations to Wicked for winning the VRML Con Swag giveaway. So,
Wicked.
Be sure to send me all your info in Discord, and we will get that to you. If you have any ideas or you want to see a future subject on the Brutal Podcast, hit us up right there in the Discord. The link's in the bio. And yeah, we were probably supposed to be saying this, but you're supposed to like and subscribe, all this kind of stuff. So my bad.
Like and subscribe.
I always forget that part. Crusader, what's going on?
Notified of the next one up.
Yes. So as far as that goes, every 2 weeks we'll be putting out a new episode and trying to bring all these guests on board so they can come enjoy the Brutal Podcast. PEAZ, Lapinski, thanks for coming along.
Yes, sir.
PEAZ, first time on the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. So
I very much enjoyed it.
And thanks for hooking us up, signing the shirt and everything else like that. And
Yeah,
I
of
didn't
course.
sign it.
no. Wah,
You're
wah.
gonna sign the Proteus shirt?
I didn't sign it.
No.
He wanted to win it. He was sad. He was first round elimination. Lapinski.
Suggestion for the next one: me and Lipinski having a talk about the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how sad he can get.
So there was a lot of fun moments. A lot of fun moments.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everything from throwing Chandler's controller to
Oh gosh.
hitting
He
someone.
bounced it off the ceiling, dude.
We're not gonna say any names, but someone hitting the vape on stage.
Oh.
Yeah, who would ever do that?
That's weird.
Dang,
No one on my team.
The
there was one problem team up there. That's all I know.
what's that thing? Zach Galifianakis plays in it, where they rob Wells Fargo.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's
What are you
based on a
talking
true
about?
story. Zach Galifianakis. He plays in Hangover.
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis. Yeah,
Galifianakis.
I'm texting. Blame it on that. He played in that movie. What's it called? Where they robbed Wells Fargo's armored trucks.
All I can think of is Hangover with Zach
No.
Galifianakis and his
Mastermind.
Between Two
Mastermind. That's what it is. Mastermind.
Mastermind.
That's what Lapinski reminded me of with that little zip. With the little.
Oh, the playbook.
Yeah,
Ferns.
he had that on like a retractor.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
kind of mad it didn't show him like pull it all the way up and just let it go.
yeah.
I wish he would have done that.
No.
Well, it was nice to feel prepared.
Yeah.
But when you expect certain things and your team forgets what I say,
Yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
got their minds running a mile per hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Nah,
that can
I'll
happen.
tell you what, my team was not prepared for the pressure on stage. That's for sure.
They were prepared for the game,
yeah.
not the pressure.
Yeah,
Too much
So-
pressure. Too much pressure.
too much eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna head out.
All right. Yes.
Thank
So
you.
are we. But yes, we should get that Animal House versus GT boxing match again. Because
God.
I was supposed. They asked me to cast it, and they were like,
A boxing match?
"Yeah," and
Yeah, they did it during our podcast.
and everybody jumped in. They were like, "Yeah, you should cast it." No. Or Wicked asked
On what?
to cast it on some boxing game.
Like Creed or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, thrill the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And
Oh,
everybody
you can
hopped
cast
in.
on that?
We were gonna wing it.
I didn't know you could. Yeah. Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah, I want to know when that's happening.
And then I was like, everybody hopped in and we were like, no, the podcast is going on. What's wrong? Like, no, we're not going to watch that. We're going to watch a podcast. But if you did miss it and you want to listen to it later, you can listen to us on Apple Podcast. And it comes with a plethora of places you can find us because we're associated with Apple now. Spotify, Amazon podcast, quite a few. But be sure to check us out on those. The
Brutalcast.
Onward Brutalcast, Onward VR Brutalcast, or the Brutalcast.
Mhm.
I think I messed it up.
Podcast.
I think I messed it up. It's Brutal Podcast. It goes.
It's going international.
Yeah. Well, we are international because James Boak was in
Oh,
here,
yeah.
so that makes it
That's
international.
true. And that's as far international as you can get.
Mind blown. All right. Yeah. Thanks for everybody. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Be sure to follow us in the Discord. That link's in the below in the bio and all that. PEAZ. Thanks for coming on board and talking, and we'd love to have you again here in the future.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to be back. But yeah, I appreciate the invite. It was very nice going through something through the maps and stuff. You don't
Yeah.
usually get to do that.
Well, it helps out a lot of these younger teams. That's what it's
That's
about,
yep.
growing the community. So
From a onward mastermind like Lipinski, helping you go through it for sure.
yeah.
I try.
All right. So until next time, y'all be good. GG's.
See ya.